Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Joseph, and I am reading another segment of this book of Isaiah. So get on. Yes, I'm a bit high, man, like the most high. Just trying to get through the year, feel a little bit of light, feel a little bit of love, and feel that grace because look around the world. There's a lot of things that are trying to distract us from our own happiness, man, and people don't realize that that's who we are by nature, these jubilant, vibrant, calm, energetic, though inside, like that conscious, graceful, empowered individual who's not distracted and distraught on the negative emotions. And look at the news, man. They're just trying to just lock people in all this negative emotions. I haven't stuck my head in the news in a long time. Like I literally mm, got out of all those waves a while back, and I'm not I'm not complaining. Like I'm really happy. That was probably the best decision of my life, getting away from all the CNNs, Foxes, and Facebook feeds of articles about the same news stories from KIMA and Tri Cities News and all that, and Spoke Compton and Seattle just running amok. Well, so let's go on. Chapter 20, The Future Shame of Egypt. Now, if you're looking at America, man, so 100 years ago, remember they were saying America's the best, the greatest dream that we're going to write here. I mean, like, internally, right? We were all hopeful. In the last 100 years, we've all been hopeful. And you start to look at a lot of the leaders that we have in America, and man, some of this leadership is really shameful. And we know for sure if we look at this dollar bill, we got a pyramid right there that dedicates back to Egypt. So this is something real that's still going on. People are like doubting the Bible, but time and time again, history shows the true reality. You can't go wrong with a little bit of ancient scriptures. So here we go. Verse 1. In the year that Tartan came into Ashdod, when Sargon, the king of Assyria, sent him, and he fought against Ashdod and took it. First off, that's Tartan, like Tartarian Empire? Who knows? That's just a possibility. At that time, the Lord spoke by Isaiah, the son of Amoz, saying, Go and loose the sackcloth from off thy loins, and put thy shoe from off thy foot. And he did so, walking naked and barefoot. And the Lord said, Like as my servant Isaiah hath walked naked and barefoot, to be for 3 years a sign and a wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia. Ethiopia, remember, it holds one of the Bibles that still has the book of Enoch in it. So if you go over there, you'll see a true Bible, like, a little bit truer than most of our versions over here. So interesting that he goes to Ethiopia. So shall the king of Assyria lead away the captives of Egypt and the exiles of Ethiopia, young and old, naked and barefoot, and with buttocks uncovered, to the shame of Egypt. And they shall be dismayed and ashamed because of Ethiopia, their expectation, and Egypt, their glory. And the inhabitant of this coastland shall say in that day, Behold, such is our expectation, whither we fled for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria, and how shall we escape? Chapter 21, Oracle concerning Babylon. The burden of thy wilderness of the sea as whirlwinds in the south sweeping on. It cometh from the wilderness, from a dreadful land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, Elam, besiege, O Media, all the sighing thereof I had made to seize. Therefore are my loins filled with convulsion. pangs have taken upon me, as the pangs of a woman in travail. I am bent so that I cannot hear. I am affrighted so that I cannot see. So that's some pretty deep wording. And to think these guys weren't that intelligent. These guys were super intelligent, man. My heart is bewildered, terror hath overwhelmed me. The twilight that I longed for hath been turned from me into trembling. They prepare the table, they light the lamps, they eat, they drink. Rise up, ye princess, anoint the shield. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, Go set the watchman, let him declare what he seeth. And when he seeth a troop, horsemen by pairs, a troop of asses, a troop of camels, he shall hearken diligently with much heed. And he cried as a lion upon the watchtower, O Lord, I stand continually in the daytime, and I am set in my ward all the nights. And behold, there came a troop of men, horsemen by pairs, and he spoke and said, Fallen, fallen is Babylon, and all the graven images of her gods are broken unto the ground. O thou, my threshing, and the winnowing of my floor, that which I have heard from the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. So, if you see what they said, they're breaking all the images, right? And in reverse, what have we seen over the last 5 to 10 years, and actually 30 years, even in Desert Storm? Um, we've seen all of these good, um, ancient artifacts and temples and so forth be attacked, just like in reverse, because as we see, we've seen the rise of Babylon in the last 100 years, and with that rise of Babylon, we had the false ISIS, we had the fake Al Qaeda, we had all that stuff funded by our own governments. And so it was really Babylon in disguise making all that ruckus and destroying all that. Well, let's go on. Oracles concerning Edom and Arabia. The burden of Duma. One calleth unto me out of the seer, Watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, The morning cometh, and also the night. If you will inquire, ye return, come. The burden upon Arabia, in the thickets of Arabia shall ye lodge, O ye caravans of Dedanites. Unto him is thirsty, bring ye water. The inhabitants of the land of Tema did you meet, the fugitive of his bread, for they fled away from the sword, from the drawn sword, and from the bent bow, and from the grievousness of war. So, there tells tales of many survivors. And when you see that there's a lot of survivors of just, these ancient origins, it makes you realize that who we are as a person today is more important than what Darwinism wanted to try to get us all detached onto. Like, oh man, we evolved from monkeys. No, we fucking didn't. Excuse my language, but God does not like that Darwinism either, man. I apologize. Forgive me, God. All right, let's continue. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, within a year, according to the years of a hireling, and all the glory of Kedar shall fail, and the residue of the number of the archers, the mighty men of the children of Kedar, shall be diminished, for the Lord, the God of Israel, hath spoken into it. Oracle concerning Jerusalem, the burden concerning the valley of the vision, which allayeth thee now that thou art wholly gone up to the housetops. Thou art full of uproar, a tumultuous city, a joyous town. Thy slain, not slain with the sword, nor dead in battle. All thy rulers are fled together without the bow. They are bound. All that are found of thee are bound together. They are fled afar off. Now, you remember the tales of the old archers? Like, these dudes can shoot hundreds and sometimes thousands of feet and yards and stuff with accuracy. Like, that's just interesting to think about. Because, from a lot of the tales, they use special type of wood and drawstring that wasn't really found in much places. Because if you look, dude, if you look at like our industrial practices now, we're destroying a lot of stuff. And sometimes these coral, sometimes these certain places out in nature get destroyed, like the coral reef, like. So back in their day, they were just living with different materials as well, higher vibrant materials of different natures, and quantum capabilities and so on. So when we hear about these stories and scriptures, we have to understand that they definitely had different technology of materials. And one of those things is also auriculum. It's a stone that these not these guys, but people would use, which was also a healing stone. I mean, as maybe they'd use them. That's speculative. Continue on though. Therefore, I said, look away from me. I will weep bitterly, strain not to comfort me for the destruction of the daughter of my people. For it is a day of trouble and of trampling and of perplexity from the Lord, the God of hosts, in the valley of vision, Ker shouting, and Shoah at the mount, and Elam bore the quiver with troops of men, even horsemen, and Kir uncovered the shield. And it came to pass, when Diachosis valleys were full of chariots, and the horsemen set upon themselves in array at the gate, and the covering of Judah was laid bare, that thou didst look in that day to the armor in the house of the forest. And ye saw the breaches of the city of David, that they were many, and ye gathered together the waters of the lower pool. And ye numbered the houses of Jerusalem, and ye broke down the houses to fortify the wall. Ye made also a basin between the two walls for the water of the old pool, but ye looked not unto him that had done this, neither had ye respect unto him that had fashioned it long ago. So these dudes were using architectural means to fortify themselves, and if you look at like the ancient structures, we could definitely see that their architecture was superb. So you can imagine that even the contraptions and such that they had were probably just as superb, if probably blow our minds the way that they had these things. The fate of Jerusalem, in that day did the Lord, the God of hosts, call to weeping and to lamentation and to baldness and to girding the sackcloth, and behold, joy and gladness, slaying oxen and killing sheep, eating flesh and drinking wine. Let us drink and drink, for tomorrow we shall die. And the Lord of hosts revealed himself in mine ears. Surely this iniquity shall not be expiated by you till ye die, saith the Lord, the God of hosts. Thus saith the Lord, the God of hosts, go to thee unto the steward, even unto Shebna, who is over the house. What hast thou there here? And whom hast thou here? That thou hast hewed thee out of the sepulchre. Thou hast hewed thee out of a sepulchre on high, and gravest a habitation for thyself in the rock. Behold, the Lord will hurl thee up and down with a man's throw. Yeah, he will wind thee round and round. He will violently roll and toss like the ball into a large country. There shalt thou die, and there shall be chariots of thy glory. Thou shame of the Lord's house, and I will thrust thee from thy post, and thy station shalt thou be pulled down. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will call my servant Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, and I will clothe him in thy robe, and bind him with thy girdle, and I will commit thy government unto his hand, and he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. And the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder, and he shall open and none shall shut, and he shall shut and none shall open. So you gotta understand that there's something higher dimensional that's being represented when he says that. I can't really figure it out right now, but a lot of these things in the Bible, they deal with other dimensional powers, abilities, entities, and yeah. All right. I will fasten him as a pig in a sure place, and he shall be for a throne of honor to his father's house. And they shall hang upon him all the glory of his father's house, the offspring and the issue, all vessels of small quantity, and the vessels' cups, even to all the vessels of flagons. In that day, saith the Lord of hosts, shall that pig that was fastened in a sure place give away, and it shall hewn down and fall, and the burden that was upon it shall be cut off, and the Lord hath spoke. Chapter 23, Oracle concerning Tyre. In the burden of Tyre, how, yea, ships of Tarshish, for it laid waste, so that there is no house, no entering it. From the land of Kittim it is revealed to them. Be still, ye inhabitants of the coastland, thou whom the merchants of Zidon that pass over the sea have replenished, and on great waters thy seed of Shittik, or the harvest of the Nile was her revenue, and she was the mart of nations. Yes, the Nile was a mega million billion dollar river back in the day too. Be thou ashamed, O Zidon, for that sea has spoken, the stronghold of the sea, saying, I have not traveled, nor brought forth, neither have I reared young men, nor brought up virgins. When the report cometh to Egypt, they shall be sorely pained at the report of Tyre. Pass over tarnish, how, ye inhabitants of the coastland? Is this your joyous city, whose feet in antiquity, in ancient days, carried her afar off to sojourn? Who hath devised this against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princess, whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth? The Lord of hosts has devised it to pollute the pride of all glory, to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. Overflow thy land of the Nile, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no girdle anymore. He had stretched out his hand over the sea. He had shaken the kingdoms. The Lord had given commandment concerning Canaan to destroy the strongholds thereof. And he said, There thou shalt no more rejoice, O thou oppressed virgin daughter of Zion. Arise, pass over to Kidden. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans. This is the people that was not when Ashur found it for the shipmen. They set up the towers, they overthrew the palaces thereof, and made a ruin. How, ye ships of Tarshish, for your stronghold is laid waste, and it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years according to the days of one king. In the end of 70 years it shall fare with Tyre as in the song of the harlot. Take a harp, go about the city, thou harlot long forgotten, make sweet melody, sing many songs that thou mayest be remembered. And it shall come to pass at the end of 70 years that the Lord will remember Tyre, and she shall return to her hire, and shall have commerce with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. And her gain and her hire shall be holiness to the Lord. It shall not be treasured nor laid upon, for her gain shall be for them that dwell before the Lord, to eat their fill, and for stately clothing. Chapter 24, the faith of creation. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turned it upside down, and scattered abroad the inhabitants thereof. What? And turn it upside down? And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the creditor, so with the debtor. The earth shall utterly be emptied, and clean despoiled. And for the Lord hath spoken this word, the earth fainteth and fadeth away, the word faileth and fadeth away. The lofty people of the earth do fail, and the earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, violated the statute, broken the everlasting covenant. Thereof hath a curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are found guilty. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth waste away, and men are left few. The new wine faileth, and vine fadeth, and all the merry hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, and the noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of the harp ceaseth. They do not drink wine with a song. Strong drink is bitter to them that drink it. Broken down is the city of wasteness. Every house is shut up that none may come in. There is crying in the streets amidst the wine. All joy is dark, and the mirth of the land is gone. And the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten until ruins. For thus it shall be in the midst of the earth among the peoples, as the beating of the olive tree, as the gleanings when the vintage is done. Doxology and impending judgment. Those yonder lift up their voice, for they sing for joy for the majesty of the Lord. They shout from the sea. Thereof glorify ye the Lord in the regions of light, even the name of the Lord, the God of Israel, in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth we have heard songs, glory to the righteous. But I say, I waste away, woe is me. The treacherous deal treacherously, yes, the treacherous deal very treacherously. Terror and the pit and the trap are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the terror shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the trap. For the windows are high, for the windows on high are opened, and the foundations of the earth do shake. Now, for the windows on high are open kind of sounds like what HRC had stated in one of her interviews in 2016 when she was running against Trump. She had, I think it was around that time. Anyways, she had stated, "Yeah, we are breaking the glass bubble in reference to the firmament with their rocket technology and satellite technology." She was mentioning how the higher atmosphere, they were breaking through it, and this sounds like for the windows on high are opened, and similarly, windows could be like dimensions or gates or portals or a doorway and access or something like that. And yeah, the earth is broken down, the earth is crumbled in pieces, the earth tremble and tottereth, the earth reeleth to and fro like a drunken man, and swayeth to and fro as a lodge, and the transgression thereof is heavy upon it. And it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord will punish the host of the high heaven on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the dungeon, and shall be shut up in the prison. And after that many days they shall be punished. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed. For the Lord of hosts will reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and before his elders shall be glory. Chapter 25, praise for deliverance. O Lord, thou art my God. I will exalt thee. I will praise thy name, for thou hast done wonderful things, even counsel of old in faithfulness and truth. For thou hast made a city of heap, of a fortified city of ruin, a castle of strangers to be no city. It shall never be built thereof. Therefore shall be the strong people glorify thee. The city of the terrible nations shall fear thee. For thou hast been a stronghold to the poor, a stronghold to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat. And for the blast of the terrible ones was a storm against the wall. As the heat in a dry place, thou didst subdue the noise of strangers. As the heat by the shadow of a cloud, the song of the terrible ones was brought low. And this mountain will the Lord of hosts make unto all peoples a feast of fat things, a feast of wines on the lea, of fat things full of marrow, of wines on the lees well refined, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering that is cast over all peoples, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death forever, and the Lord God will wipe away tears from all faces, and reproach of his people he will take away from of all the earth, and the Lord has spoken it. It shall be said in that day, lo, this is our God for whom we waited, that he may save us. That this is the Lord for whom we waited. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. For in this mountain will the hand of the Lord rest, and Moab shall be trodden down in this place, even as straw is trodden down in the dunghill. And with he shall spread forth his hands in the midst thereof, as he that swimmeth spreadeth forth his hands to swim. His pride shall be brought down together with the cunning of his hands, and the high fortress of thy walls will bring down, lay low, and bring to the ground, even to the dust. Chapter 26, Victory Song for Judah. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city, walls and bulwarks doth he appoint for salvation. Open ye gates, that the righteousness nation shall keep away faithfulness may enter in. The mind stayed on thee, thou keepest in perfect peace, because it trusteth in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for the Lord is God, an everlasting rock. For he hath brought down them that dwell on high, the lofty city, laying it low, even to the ground, bringing it even to the dust. The foot shall tread it down, even the feet of the poor, and the steeps of the needy. The righteous way of the Lord, the way of the just is straight. Thou most upright, making the plain the path of just. Yeah, and the way of the judgments, O Lord, have we waited for thee. To thy name and to thy memorial is the desire of soul. With my soul I have desired thee in the night. Yeah, with my spirits within me I have sought thou earnestly. For when thy judgments are in thy earth, thy inhabitants of the world learn righteousness. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness in the land of uprightness. He will deal wrongfully and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. Lord, thy hand was lifted up, yet they not see. They shall see with shame thy zeal for thy people. Yeah, fire shall devour thine adversaries. Remember, adversaries was a word for those fallen angels, the dark ones. Lord, thou wilt establish peace for us, for thou hast indeed wrought all our works for us. And if you notice, some of the UFO, UAP, ambassadors, I guess, in the politics who are on the good side, gladly say it like this: let's hope these UFOs are not adversaries. In a ancient way, they're referencing this adversaries. We know this. A lot of cultures talk about it like this because we can't really just, you know, be so basic with it. We have to call it for what it is. O Lord our God, other lords besides thee have had dominion over us, but by thee only do we make mention of thy name. The dead live not, the shades rise not. To that end hast thou punished and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. Thou hast gotten the honor with the nations, O Lord, yeah, exceeding great honor with the nations. Thou art honored unto the farthest ends of the earth. Wow. So when Graham Hancock says we are a species with amnesia, this is a literal thing. Look at this. That um part 14. The dead live not, the shades rise not. To that end has thou punished and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. So a certain amount and certain of culture in the world, like certain amount of cultures, I guess, a certain population, a certain percent of people on earth had their memories erased by God for probably following the dark ones. And when they were oh man, that makes a lot of sense. And it's kind of weird, right? But if you think about like that cleansing of Christ, where like that all that darkness is stripped away, and it's proven time after time again, buddy, like this is real, where people will come to Christ, and it's like their memory is new because all that darkness was trying to subside them. And if you see where above I had spoken that it said other rulers had dominion over certain, people, so if you look at all the ancient texts and how there are, multiple races, beings, and, you know, some of them, I wouldn't say had greater ability than Yahweh, Lord, our God, but definitely they were warring. And some of them are time and time after again shown to be the enemy, like Babylon. Babylon is always spoken as the enemy and shown to be the enemy. And if you look at the remnants of Babylon in modern history and ancient history, and where it stemmed to, in between all that, then you will see that that's true. Like, um, yeah, okay, let's keep going. Thou hast gotten the honor with the nations, O Lord. Yeah, exceeding great honor with the nations. Thou hast honor unto the farthest ends of the earth. Lord, in trouble have sought thee. Silently they poured out a prayer when thy chastening was upon them, like as a woman with child that draweth near the time of her delivery is in pain and crieth out in her pangs. So have we been at thy presence, O Lord. Have we been with child, we have been in pain, we have as it were brought forth wind, we have not wrought any deliverance in the land, neither are the inhabitants of the world come to life. Thy dead shall live, my dead body shall arise, awake and sing, yea, that dwell in the dust, for thy dew is as dew of light, and earth shall bring to life the shades. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself for a little moment until the indignation to be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh forth out of his place to visit upon the inhabitants of the earth their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Chapter 27. The gathering and redemption of Israel. In that day, the Lord with his sword and great and strong sword will punish Leviathan, the slapped serpent, the and Leviathan, the torturous serpent, and he will slay the dragon that is in the sea. In that day, sing ye of her a vineyard of foaming wine. I, the Lord, do guard it. I water it every moment, lest mine anger visit, and I guard it night and day. Fury is not in me. Would I were as the briars and thorns in flame, I would with one step burn it altogether, or else let him take a hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me. Yeah, let him make peace with me. In days to come shall Jacob take root, Israel shall blossom and bud, and the face of the world shall be filled with fruitage. Hath he smitten him as he smote these that smote him, or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that were slain by him? In full measure, when thou sendest her away, thou dost contend with her. He hath removed her with his rough blast in that day of the east wind. Blast in the day of the east wind. Hmm. Well, I'm trying to look at the patterns of the last deluge or the ice age of, and I was trying to think if any were similar to the east wind. I don't know. Therefore, this shall the iniquity of Jacob be expiated, and this is all the fruit of taking away his sin. When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in pieces, so that Ashram and the sun images shall rise no more. For the fortified city is solitary, a habitation abandoned and forsaken like the wilderness. There shall be the calf feed, and there shall he lie down and consume the branches thereof. When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The woman shall come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding thereof. He had made them, will not a compassion upon them, and he that formed them will not be gracious unto them. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord will beat off his fruit from the flood of the river unto the brook of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great horn shall be blown, and they shall come that were lost in the land of Syria, and that they were dispersed in the land of Egypt, and they shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain of Jerusalem. Chapter 28. Corrupt and arrogant leaders judged. Woe to the crown of the pride of the drunkards of Ephraim, and to the fading flower of his glorious beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley of them that are smitten down with wine. Hey man, we're in a valley with wine. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, as a storm of hail, a tempest of destruction, as a storm of mighty waters overflowing, that casteth down to the earth with violence. The crown of pride of the drunkards of Ephraim shall be trodden down under foot, and the fading flower of his glorious beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley, shall be first ripe fig before the summer, which when one look upon it while it is yet in his hand, he eateth up. In that day shall the Lord of hosts be for a crown of glory and a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people, and for the spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn back the battle at the gate. Whoa. Nice. Strength to the fighters, us. And to the people who are not strong enough. But these also reel through wine and stagger through strong drink. The priest and the prophet reel through strong drink. They are confused because of wine. They stagger because of strong drink. They reel in vision. They totter in judgment, for all tables are full of filthy vomit, and no place is clean. Whom shall one teach knowledge? And whom shall one make to understand the message? Them are weaned from milk, them that are drawn from breasts. For it is precept by precept, precept by precept, line by line by line, here a little, there a little. And for with stammering lips and with a strange tongue shall it be spoken to this people, for whom it was said, this is the rest, give ye rest to the weary, and this is the refreshing. Yet they would not hear. And so the word of the Lord is unto them, precept by precept, precept by precept, line by line, here a little, there a little, that they may go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. The Jerusalem leadership covenant with death. Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scoffers, the ballad mongers of this people which is in Jerusalem, because they have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with the netherworld are we at agreement. When the scouring scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and in falsehood we have hid ourselves. Therefore thus said the Lord God, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation of stone, a tried stone, a costly cornerstone of sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. And I will make justice to line and righteousness to plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refugee of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with the netherworld shall not stand. And when the scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it. As often as it passeth through, it shall take you. For morning by morning shall it pass through, by day and by night. And it shall be sheer terror to understand this message. And for the bed is too short for a man to stretch himself, and the covering too narrow, for he gathereth himself up. And for the Lord will rise as in Mount Perazim, he will be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work strange in his work, and bring to pass his act strange in his act. Now thereof be ye not scoffers, lest your bands be made strong. For an extermination wholly determined have I heard from the Lord, the God of hosts, upon the whole land. The parable of the skillful farmer. Give ye ear, and hear my voice, attend, and hear my speech. Is the plowman never done with plowing to sow, after the opening and harrowing of his ground? When he hath made plain the face thereof, doth he cast abroad black cumin, and scattered the cumin, and put in the wheat and rows and the barley in the appointed place, and spelt in the border thereof. So those are good crops to grow if you want to be living in the name of the Lord. For he doth instruct him aright, and his God do teach him. For the black cumin is not threshed with threshing sledge, neither is a cartwheel turned about upon the cumin, and the black cumin is beaten out with a staff, and the cumin with a rod is bread corn crushed. Nay, he will never be threshing it, and though the roller of his wagon and its sharper edges move noisily, he doth not crush it. This also cometh forward from the Lord of hosts, wonderful in his counsel and great his wisdom. Chapter 29. Jerusalem under siege. Ariel, the city of David encamped. Add ye to year, let the feast come around. Then I will distress Ariel, and there shall be mourning and moaning, and she shall be unto me as a hearth of God. And I will encamp against thee round about, and I will lay siege against thee with a mound, and I will rage siege works against thee, and brought down thou shalt spoke out of the ground, and thy speech shall be low out of the dust, and thy voice shall be as of a ghost out of the ground, and thy speech shall chirp out of the dust, and the multitude of thy foes shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the terrible ones as chaff that passeth away. Yeah, it shall be an instant sudden. There shall be a visitation from the Lord of hosts with thunder and with an earthquake and great noise, with whirlwind and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. That's interesting. And the multitude of all the nations that war against Ariel, even all that war against her and bulwarks about her, and they that distress her shall be as a dream, a vision in the night. It shall be as when a hungry man dreameth, and behold, he eateth, but he awaketh, his soul is empty, as in when a thirsty man dreameth, and behold, he drinketh, but he awake, and behold, he is faint, and his soul hath appetite. So shall the multitude of all nations be that fight against Mount Zion. That's interesting. So remember how one of the old sayings is like God will be like a thief in the night. Uh but like speaking as far as the return of Christ breaking, totally destroying Babylon. And so in the middle of a nightfall, Babylon's destroyed, Christ comes about, and in this it even talks about all those who go against Zion. It's just they're just like, it's false illusion. It's just illusions. Like they're gonna wake up and they're not gonna have done anything to Zion. Stupefy yourselves and be stupid. Blind yourselves and be blind. Yea, that are drunken, but not with wine, that stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes, the prophets, in your heads, the seers hath he covered. And the vision of all this has become unto you as the words of a writing that is sealed, and which men delivered to one that is learning, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the writing is delivered unto him that is not learned, saying, read. Oh, and the Lord said, for so much as this people draw near, and with their mouth and their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear of me is a commandment of men learned by rote. Thereof, behold, I will again do a marvelous work among his people, even a marvelous work and a wonder, and the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the prudence of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Oh, your perversity! Shall the potter be esteemed as clay, that the thing made should say of him that madeth, he made me not, or the thing framed say of him that framed it, he hath no understanding. Hope for the rehabilitation of Judean society. It is not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed with a forest. And in that day shall the deaf to hear the words of a book, and in the eyes the blind shall see out of the obscurity, and out of darkness the humble shall also increase their joy in the Lord, and the neediest among men shall exult in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner seizeth, and all that they watch for iniquity are cut off. That make a man an offender by words, and lay a snare for him that reproven in the gate, and turn aside the just with a thing of naught. Therefore For thus said the Lord who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. When he seeth his children, the work of my hands in the midst of him, that they sanctify my name, yeah, they shall sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall stand in the awe of the God of Israel. They also that in spirit shall come to understanding, and they murmur shall learn instruction. Chapter 30. Condemnation of Judah's counsel with Egypt. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not to me, and that form projects, but not of my spirit, that may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to take refuge in the stronghold of Pharaoh, and to take shelter in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the stronghold of Pharaoh turn to your shame, and the shelter in the shadow of Egypt into your confusion. For his princes are at his own, and his ambassadors are come to Hanes. They shall be ashamed of a people that cannot profit them. They are not help nor profit, but a shame, and also a reproach. Oracle concerning the Negev, the burden of the beasts of the south, to the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the lioness and the lion, the viper and the flying serpent. They carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the humps of cattle, to a people that shall not profit them. For Egypt helpeth in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore I have called their arrogancy that sitteth still. Record of the Judah judgment against Judah. Now go, write write it before them on a tablet, and inscribe it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. For it is a rebellious people, lying children, children that refuse to hear the teaching of the Lord, that say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophecy delusions. Sounds like everything I'm going through, man. Like, as a spirit worker and someone who can see into the future, dude, I've been told this my whole life by my own family and my own friends. It's weird. Like, why, why, bro? Like, if someone has abilities, let them use it. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of that path, cause the Holy One of Israel to see from before us. Whereof thus saith the Lord, Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon. Therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant, and he shall break it as a potter's vessel is broken, breaking it in pieces without sparring, so that there shall not be found among the pieces thereof sure to take fire from the hearth, or to take water at the cistern. The benefits of returning to the Lord. For this to the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in sitting still on Reshe, shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. And ye would not, but ye said, no, for we will flee upon horses. Therefore shall ye flee, and we will ride upon the swift. Therefore shall that they pursue you be swift. 1,000 shall flee at the rebuke of one, and the rebuke of 5 shall ye flee, till ye be left as a beacon upon the top of a mountain, and as an ensign of the hill. And therefore would the Lord wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore he will be exalted, that he may have compassion unto you. For the Lord is a God of justice. Happy are all that wait for him. For, O people that dwell at Zion at Jerusalem, thou shalt weep no more. He will surely be gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear, he will answer thee. And though the Lord will give you sparing bread and scant water, yet shall not thy teacher hide himself any more, but thine eyes shall be thy teacher, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way, walk in it. When ye turn to the right hand, and when ye turn to the left, and when ye shall defile thy graven images overlaid with silver, and thy molten images covered with gold, thou shalt put them far away as one unclean. Thou shalt say unto thee, get thee hence. and he will give the rain for thy seed, wherewith thou sowest the ground, and bread of the increase of the ground, and it shall be fat and plenteous. And in that day shall thy cattle feed in large pastures, the oxen likewise, and the young asses that till the ground shall eat savory provender, which had been winnowed with the shovel and with the fan. And there shall be upon every lofty mountain and upon every high hill streams and watercourses in that day the great slaughter when the towers fall. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, and as the light of 7 days, in the day that the Lord bindeth up the bruises of his people, and healeth the stroke their wound. Behold, the name of the Lord cometh from far, with his anger burning and thick uplifting of smoke. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue is as devouring fire, and his breath is an overwhelming steam that divideth even unto the neck, to sift the nations with the sieve of destruction, and bridle that causeth that shall be in the jaws of the people. Ye shall have a song as in the night when the feast is hallowed, and gladness of heart, as when one goeth and with the pipe to cometh to the mountain, to the rock of Israel. And the Lord will cause his glorious voice to be heard, and will show the lighting down of his arm with furious anger, and the flame of devouring fire, with a bursting of clouds, a storm of rain and hailstorms. For though the voice of the Lord shall be assured be dismayed, the rod with which he smote, and in every place where the appointed staff shall pass, which the Lord shall lay upon him, it shall be with tabrets and hearts, and in battles of wielding he will fight with them. For a hearth is ordered of old, yes, for the king is prepared deep and large, the pile thereof is fire and much wood. The breath of the Lord, like a steam of brimstone, doth kindle it. And with that, that is your daily or weekly read. And a lot of these words really are, old English. I could be reading this in New English, and it might help us a lot more. I think I might. This is because, like, man, this is rough. Like, I know what it means, but at the same time, it's making my brain think a little bit too much when I should just be relaxing and reading the Word of God. And I don't want my viewers to have their brains hurting, because if my brain hurts, then I'm sure others' brains hurt too. All right, man. You guys have a wonderful night, and may the Lord be with you. Look, this is history. Um, and we are living in history in the making every day until the future, because if you notice what is going on, there's a lot of stuff going on that's absolutely biblical. So you guys will see and more, I guess. Like I said in the start, or on my Instagram, I think. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it was on my Instagram. But anyways, I'll just say it here. Like, I'm really starting this out. The production level is middle. It's not really that great, but I don't have any training in this type of production. So by next year, I know how to learn more, and the video formats and all that will be a lot better. And I'm learning as I go, and I just love this stuff, and hope that you guys do too. You guys have a wonderful night. Peace.